You are not here by accident. You are not watching this video by chance. If you're hearing these words right now, it is because heaven has aligned everything in your life to bring you to this moment. This is not some random occurrence. No, this is a divine appointment, a sacred interruption that has been planned long before you even realized it. The universe didn't just throw this in your path for no reason. This moment has been written in the stars, and now it's unfolding before your eyes. Before you even pressed play, before you even knew what this message would bring, heaven already knew you would be here at this exact second. And here's the truth. You were chosen for this very moment. The struggles, the delays, the times when you felt stuck, none of this was a coincidence. Every hardship, every challenge, and every prayer has led you to this point. And now, right here, right now, you're stepping into a new season, one of divine breakthrough and provision. Think about it. The timing of this moment is no mistake. Heaven has orchestrated it perfectly, knowing that now is the time for you to hear this truth. God's timing is always perfect, and what you're about to experience is a direct result of the divine alignment that has been happening behind the scenes. The weight you've carried, the pressure, the exhaustion, it has all been preparing you for the shift that is happening now. The pressure you felt was never meant to crush you, but to strengthen you, to mold you into the person you need to be, to carry the blessings coming your way. Now, as you sit here listening, you are standing on the threshold of something much bigger than you ever imagined. This is the end of your struggle and the beginning of your divine elevation. You may not see it all yet, but feel it. In your spirit, you know that something is shifting, and heaven is about to release provision in ways that will transform your life. The truth is, this is your time. And while it may feel overwhelming, it is also the most empowering moment of your life. You have been called, and now you are being chosen to step into a season of supernatural provision, favor, and breakthrough that will change everything. No more waiting. No more wondering. No more struggling. This is the beginning of your story, and it's all unfolding now. Let me make one thing clear. This is not by chance. This moment you are experiencing right now, this very second, has been divinely orchestrated, planned long before you even knew it was coming. You are not here by coincidence. This is not some random click or a fluke. Heaven has been preparing you for this exact moment, and it has been written into the fabric of time itself. God, in His infinite wisdom, has brought you here for a reason. And you must understand the gravity of this truth. You are chosen. The trials, the struggles, the feelings of being overlooked or forgotten, they were never random. They were all part of a greater divine plan, one that has led you to exactly where you are today. This is the moment when the heavens have aligned to bring you into your breakthrough. This is not a coincidence. It is the fulfillment of divine timing. You were meant to hear this message. You were meant to be at this place in your life, right now, to receive what is being released over you. Think about it. How many times have you questioned your journey, wondered why things weren't happening the way you expected? It wasn't a mistake. It was the hand of God guiding you, shaping you, refining you for something far greater. You were being prepared for a moment like this. A moment where all the pain, all the delays, all the setbacks will make sense. Because now, heaven is saying, the time has come. The chosen one is ready. This is your appointed time. The timing of this message is no accident. The struggles you've faced, the pressure you've endured, the tears you've shed, they were not meaningless. They were the refining fire that has prepared you for what is about to unfold. You are on the edge of something monumental, something supernatural, and you are here at the right time, in the right place, to receive it. This moment is divine and it is yours. Everything in your life has led to this. You are not stumbling through life aimlessly. You have been divinely positioned, and what's about to happen is a reflection of heaven's perfect plan for you. This is not by chance. This is divine intervention. The time of struggle is ending, and your season of breakthrough is beginning now. Right now, I need you to hear this with your spirit. The struggle ends now. The financial pressure that has been weighing on you, the sleepless nights spent worrying about bills, the constant feeling that you're just one step away from falling behind, it's all coming to an end. What you've been fighting, what you've been enduring, it was never meant to crush you. It was preparing you for the breakthrough that's unfolding right now. This is the turning point. You're about to enter a season of supernatural provision, where all the years of striving, the times you thought you'd never get ahead, are now being eclipsed by heaven's divine favor. The time of struggle is over. God is stepping into your finances, and He's about to shift everything. This is not a gradual change. It's a sudden, monumental breakthrough. The very thing that has felt like a constant battle will soon feel like a distant memory. You're not waiting any longer. The season of lack, of barely getting by, is over. It's time for divine provision. Heaven is about to release into your life what you could not force, what you could not earn through your own effort. You are about to see doors open that you could never have opened on your own. Financial favor will begin to flow to you in ways that will make you stand in awe. The struggle is not a reflection of your worth or effort. It was the divine timing that was shaping your heart, your mindset, and your readiness for the blessings that are now being unlocked. The time of lack is gone, and the time of increase has come. And it's not just about money, it's about God positioning you to receive the resources, the opportunities, and the favor that will not only change your financial situation, but will transform your life. This is your divine moment. The financial pressure is being lifted, and in its place, you are stepping into a season where provision will not only meet your needs, but will overflow to enable you to fulfill your purpose. This is no longer a prayer for survival. This is a call to walk into the abundance God has always planned for you. The shift is happening, and as it does, everything that has been delayed, everything you've prayed for, is coming to fruition. This isn't just a financial breakthrough, it's your invitation to step into the life that God always intended for you. The financial pressure you've been under, those sleepless nights filled with worry, those moments when it felt like every step forward was met with 2 steps back, it was never meant to break you. You were never supposed to be crushed by the weight of your circumstances. No, what you've experienced has been part of a divine plan, a preparation process that has been shaping you for something greater, something far beyond what you can see right now. That pressure wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Every ounce of stress, every moment where you thought you couldn't go on, every single time the bills stacked up higher than your income, it all served a purpose. It was refining you, stretching you, strengthening your spirit for the abundance that is about to come into your life. This pressure was never meant to last. It was simply the process that comes before the shift, the season of transformation that you are now entering. You are not the same person you were before all of this started. You are stronger, wiser, and more resilient because of what you've endured. Think about this. Every obstacle you've faced has been strategically placed to prepare you for what's coming next. God has not allowed this struggle to last indefinitely because He never wanted you to be trapped in it. Instead, He has been building your endurance, your faith, and your capacity to handle the abundant blessings that are about to flood into your life. You see, the struggle wasn't about punishment, it was about positioning. God needed to ensure that you were spiritually, mentally, and emotionally ready for the kind of increase He is about to release. You may have asked, why does it feel like nothing is moving? Why does it seem like every door I try to open stays closed? The truth is, God has been setting you up for a breakthrough you couldn't have imagined, a breakthrough that required you to go through the fire first. He's been preparing your heart to handle the overflow of provision He is about to send your way. He was refining your trust, your patience, and your character. But let me be clear, that season of struggle is over. The pressure that has been building will now release, and you will feel it. You will begin to see doors open that once seemed locked tight. Opportunities you never thought possible will start to flow your way. And the financial burden that has been weighing on you will be lifted. This is not just a minor shift, it is a divine breakthrough that is unfolding in your life right now. Understand this. You were never meant to stay in this season forever. It was a necessary part of your journey, yes, but it was temporary. And now that the preparation has been completed, you are about to step into a new season of supernatural provision and favor. The hard work, the endurance, the waiting, it was all leading to this moment, and you are ready. God didn't bring you this far just to leave you here. The struggle has ended, and the doors to divine provision are now wide open. You are about to enter into a season where your financial situation will no longer be a source of stress, but a source of peace and abundance. The pressure is lifting. The struggle is over. You are stepping into the next chapter where provision will not only meet your needs but will exceed them. The struggle has ended, and your divine breakthrough has just begun. The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. What you've endured, the pressure you've carried, the constant tension of financial worry and struggle, all of it is now shifting. This is not just an ordinary change. It's a supernatural shift that is about to transform everything. The weight that has held you down, the delays that have frustrated your every step, are now being broken apart by divine authority. What once held you in place is now being lifted as you step into a season of supernatural provision and limitless access. For far too long, you've fought in the trenches of financial battles. And though you've prayed, hoped, and believed for a breakthrough, it felt as though things were only getting harder. The pressure was relentless, the waiting endless. But here's the truth. None of this was in vain. Every single trial, every moment of hardship, every instance where you questioned whether you could continue, was God's way of preparing you for something greater. That preparation is now complete, and the breakthrough is no longer a future promise, it is a present reality. You are transitioning from pressure to provision. The burden that you have carried will no longer define you. It will become the evidence of your endurance, the testimony of your strength. What once felt like an overwhelming weight, like you were constantly running on empty, is now being replaced with a flow of provision that will fill you up in ways you can't yet fully comprehend. The pressure you felt was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you for the abundance that's coming. For so long, you've been in a season of delay, where doors seemed to stay locked, opportunities felt distant, and breakthroughs appeared just out of reach. But God has been moving in the background, quietly positioning everything you need for the perfect moment. The time for delays is over. What was once withheld from you, whether out of timing, obstacles, or unseen resistance, is now being released. You are stepping into a season where access is granted, and things that once felt impossible are now opening up before you. This is your moment of divine access. The struggles you've faced, the challenges you've overcome, the seasons when you were unsure how you would make it, those seasons were not wasted. They were the foundation for the elevation you're about to experience. You are no longer just waiting for doors to open. You are stepping into a realm where doors will open effortlessly, because God is unlocking opportunities that have been designed specifically for you. What was once inaccessible will now be within your grasp. Think about it. You've been through the fire, and now you're walking into the favor. The delay that felt like denial was actually God's protection, His preparation, and His positioning. It was all for this very moment, the moment when He opens the floodgates of provision and gives you access to resources, opportunities, and favor that you could never have earned on your own. This is divine acceleration. What took years to accomplish will now happen in a fraction of the time because you are aligned with God's timing. The pressure that has shaped you will now become the evidence of God's glory in your life. You will not look back at your struggles with regret, but with gratitude, because they are the very things that have brought you to this moment of supernatural access. You will no longer be chasing after what you need. The provision will chase after you. Doors that were once closed will open wide, and the provision that was once delayed will begin to flow toward you faster than you can imagine. You are no longer a victim of the waiting period. You are a victor in the moment of divine access. Everything that you need is being placed before you now. Resources, connections, opportunities, and divine favor are now aligning to create a path that leads you to abundance. What was impossible is now possible. The resistance you fought through will now become the testimony of your victory, and the delay will now become the springboard for your acceleration into everything God has for you. The shift is happening right now. This is the moment when everything changes. You are stepping from a season of financial struggle into a season of divine provision. From delay to immediate access, heaven has heard your prayers, seen your struggles, and now it is releasing everything you need to fulfill your purpose. You are no longer waiting. You are walking into the fullness of what God has prepared for you. This is the supernatural shift you've been praying for, and it is unfolding right before your eyes. Get ready, because you are about to step into a season where provision is abundant, access is unrestricted, and the favor of God surrounds you like never before. Habakkuk 2:3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. This powerful scripture from Habakkuk 2-3 perfectly aligns with the divine timing unfolding in your financial breakthrough. The vision God has given you for financial provision, for the abundant life you've prayed for, is set for an appointed time, and that time is now. For so long, you've waited in expectation, watching the seasons pass without seeing the fruits of your labor. The delays felt endless, the struggle unbearable, and the provision always seemed just out of reach. But God's word is clear. Even though it seemed like the breakthrough was taking too long, it was never a delay, it was preparation. What you've been waiting for is now coming to fruition, and this is the moment when the vision will speak loud and clear. The scripture assures us that God's plan will never fail. The vision He has given you will come to pass. Every prayer you've prayed, every seed you've sown, every step you've taken in faith has been seen by heaven. What may have seemed delayed was simply part of the divine process that has now reached its appointed time. The pressure, the struggle, the waiting, it was all for this moment when God opens the floodgates of provision and releases what has been promised to you. While the waiting may have felt long, it was not in vain. The scripture tells us to wait, because what God has promised, He will deliver. You are stepping into the appointed time, where God's provision is no longer just a promise, it is becoming a reality. Your season of waiting is over, and the appointed time has arrived. What was once unseen is now being revealed, and the vision you've held for your financial breakthrough is about to speak meaning. It is about to manifest in your life. The vision shall not lie, and neither will God's promises. What was delayed has now been authorized to come to you, and this is the season where your waiting turns into abundance. The breakthrough you've longed for is here, not just in words, but in tangible, real, supernatural provision. In summary, Habakkuk 2-3 reminds you that your waiting is over. What has been promised will come to pass, and it will be more than worth the wait. The appointed time is now, and God's provision is about to flood your life in ways that will leave you in awe. The vision is speaking, and your financial breakthrough has arrived. Heaven is moving, and it's moving in ways you could never have imagined. The things that seemed impossible are now being made possible by divine hands. This is divine alignment at work, and it's not a coincidence. The doors that once felt locked shut, the opportunities that seemed out of reach, and the people who were once positioned elsewhere, they are now being moved, shifted, and aligned for your benefit. This is a season where God is stepping in, where divine movement is happening all around you, and what was once delayed is now accelerating. For so long, you tried to force doors open, pushing and striving with all your might to make things happen. But what you couldn't see was that your struggle was never meant to force a breakthrough. It was about positioning. God was aligning you. What seemed like a frustrating standstill was actually the moment God was preparing everything, moving parts of your life that you couldn't see, setting things in motion that were just waiting for the right time to unfold. You were not meant to make it happen on your own. God was working behind the scenes, orchestrating divine connections, aligning people, and setting you up for the breakthrough you couldn't force. Now, everything is falling into place. Heaven is opening doors that you couldn't open on your own. The people who hold the keys to your next opportunity are now being moved into your life. God is placing the right people in your path at the right time. What you've been waiting for, the things that seem delayed and inaccessible, are now coming into perfect alignment. The divine movement you've been praying for is now unfolding before your eyes. Think about this. Every prayer you've prayed for breakthrough, every moment you've spent waiting for a sign, was God's way of preparing you for this season. The season when everything that was out of reach will suddenly be in your hands. You couldn't force it, and that's because God's plan was never about your strength, your timing, or your effort. It's about His divine plan, one that was set in motion long before you even knew what was ahead. What you've seen as delays were really God's divine protection and preparation for what is now coming your way. God has been positioning everything around you. The job that you thought would never open, the connection you never thought you'd make, the breakthrough you've longed for, all of these were always part of the plan. God has moved people into position, and He's opening doors right now that no man can shut. What once seemed impossible or delayed will now be delivered with ease, because God is in full control of this divine alignment. The opportunities you thought you missed are actually lining up for you in ways that will blow your mind. This divine alignment is not a coincidence. It is the direct intervention of God in your life. The timing is perfect, the connections are aligned, and the resources you need are already in place. Heaven has been at work long before you realized it, and now the floodgates of provision are opening for you. You are stepping into a season where doors you once knocked on are now swinging wide open, where opportunities you thought were beyond your reach are being placed right in front of you. No longer will you need to push, pull, or fight to make things happen. This is God's season to move on your behalf. You don't need to strive or manipulate situations anymore. God is moving in your favor, and you are about to step into opportunities, blessings, and breakthroughs that you couldn't have forced, manipulated, or earned by your own strength. What has been delayed is now coming, and it is not by your effort but by God's divine grace and perfect timing. You are being positioned, right now, for a breakthrough that has been divinely orchestrated. Everything you've been waiting for, everything you thought was lost or out of reach, is now coming into your life, because heaven is moving. Divine alignment is in full motion, and it's all happening right now. Your financial breakthrough, your business opportunity, your relationships, they are being positioned by God in ways you can't even see, but they are coming. The season of struggle and striving is over. This is your season of divine access, divine favor, and divine breakthrough. Now, you can rest in the assurance that God is in control. You don't need to manipulate. You don't need to force things to happen. God is opening doors for you, and He's moving people and circumstances into position right now. Get ready, because the doors you've been waiting for are about to swing wide open, and everything that has been aligned is about to come to pass in your life, in the most divine way. Let me speak directly to your heart. What you've been going through, the financial struggles, the sleepless nights, the constant hustle, were never a reflection of your worth or your effort. You've been carrying the weight of what feels like failure, as if your efforts weren't enough, as if you didn't work hard enough, as if somehow you were falling short. But I need you to understand this truth. Your struggle was never about you not being enough. What you've experienced, the financial pressure, the anxiety about how to pay bills, the moments when it felt like every step forward was met with 2 steps back, was not because you lacked something. It wasn't because you weren't doing the right things or putting in enough effort. No, it was part of a bigger, divine plan, and God was using this time to position you, to refine you, and to prepare you for the breakthrough that is now on the horizon. The enemy tries to convince us that our struggles define us, that if we're struggling, it must mean we are unworthy, unsuccessful, or somehow flawed. But that's a lie. Your financial struggle was never a reflection of your character or effort. It was a divine test, a season of refinement. God wasn't punishing you. He was refining you, equipping you, and building your endurance for the incredible blessing that is coming. You may have felt overlooked, like no matter how hard you worked, your efforts were unnoticed or undervalued. Maybe you've even questioned your worth because of the lack you've experienced. But let me be very clear. You are not defined by your struggle. You are not defined by the amount of money in your bank account or the number of setbacks you've faced. You are defined by who God says you are, and His plan for you was never about struggle, it was always about preparation. You were never meant to stay in that place of financial stress. It was never about the struggle being permanent. It was always about you being prepared for what was coming next. God uses these seasons of hardship not to break you, but to strengthen you, to build your faith, and to develop a character that can carry the blessing when it comes. Your struggle was the fire that refined you. What you're about to step into is not a reward for your hard work or the result of just grinding harder. It's the result of divine alignment and timing. Everything you've endured, every hardship, every struggle, has been God's way of preparing you for the incredible breakthrough that is coming your way. And this breakthrough won't be just for you. It will be a testimony of God's faithfulness to anyone who's been where you've been. It's proof that God's timing is perfect, and that everything you've gone through has been leading to this very moment. So stop equating your worth to your financial situation. Your worth is not determined by the numbers on your paycheck, but by the love and favor of God that has always been with you, even in the hard times. This season is not the end. It was the process that was necessary to bring you to the place of divine provision. You are stepping into a new season where the pressure of financial strain is no longer defining you. What you've been experiencing has not been about your failure. It has been about God's preparation for your breakthrough. The struggle ends now, and the favor of God is about to pour into your life, because you are ready to carry it. You've been chosen for this moment, and you are about to experience the abundant life God has always intended for you. For far too long, you may have felt like your financial struggles were a barrier to your true calling. Every time you felt the weight of your finances, it seemed like it drowned out the purpose you knew God had placed within you. The struggle made it feel like you couldn't move forward, that your dreams and vision were too far out of reach, that your purpose was being silenced by the pressure of the here and now. But here's the truth you need to embrace. Your financial struggle was never meant to silence your purpose. It was meant to sharpen it. God never assigns a vision without also providing the necessary resources to fulfill it. When God gives you a purpose, He also aligns the provision for that purpose. The problem is, often, we get so caught up in the struggle, in the lack, that we forget this powerful truth. We mistakenly believe that our current financial situation determines our ability to walk in our divine calling. But the truth is, God is the provider, and when He calls you to something, He will always make a way, even when it doesn't look like there's a way. So why do financial struggles often come hand in hand with our purpose? Because the enemy knows that your purpose is dangerous to his plans, and he will try to use financial pressure to keep you from walking in it. When you're stuck in financial turmoil, it's easy to forget your calling. The weight of the struggle makes it hard to focus on anything but surviving. But here's where the breakthrough happens. God allows the struggle to build your endurance, to test your faith, and to strengthen you, because the purpose He has for you is too big to be stopped by temporary financial lack. Purpose and provision are inseparable. The provision for your purpose is already in motion. You might not see it right now, but God is working behind the scenes, aligning everything in perfect timing to fulfill His plan for your life. The financial struggle you've faced was not the final word. It was part of the process that brought you closer to the provision you needed to walk out your divine purpose. Think about the greatest figures in the Bible: Abraham, Moses, David, Esther. None of them walked into their purpose without facing challenges, struggles, and moments of doubt. But God never failed to provide exactly what they needed at the right time. God doesn't just assign a vision, He also equips those He calls. He didn't give Abraham a promise of a nation without the resources to lead it. He didn't call Moses to deliver the Israelites without providing him with the strength and resources to do so. He gave them the provision to carry out their purpose, and He's doing the same for you. Your financial struggle has never been a reflection of your worth or ability to fulfill your purpose. Instead, it has been a testing ground, a place where God has been preparing you for the fullness of what He has in store. The provision is coming. The resources you need to fulfill your calling are already in motion. The season of financial strain is not the end of your purpose, it's the process leading to the provision that will fuel your divine assignment. And as you step into the next season, know this: God will provide what He has promised. His provision will come at the perfect time, and it will align perfectly with the purpose He has placed in your heart. You cannot outdream God. The vision He has for you is big, and the provision will match it. Trust that God will supply everything you need to walk in the purpose He has set before you. The financial struggle is ending, and the provision to walk out your purpose is being released. Your purpose will not be silenced by lack. It will be amplified by God's provision, and you are about to step into a season where purpose and provision come together in a way that will change everything. Before you experience the external breakthrough that you've been waiting for, there must be an internal shift. God is not only preparing the material things you need, but He is also preparing you, your mindset, your heart, and your spirit to receive the abundance and favor He is about to pour out. This internal transformation is a necessary process that must happen before the external provision can manifest in your life. Too often, we focus solely on the external circumstances, the bills, the job opportunities, the finances, and we forget that God is more concerned with our internal posture. You can't fully receive the blessings God has for you if your heart and mind are not aligned with His purpose for you. You may be waiting for external provision, but God is waiting for the internal transformation that will prepare you to steward that provision well. One of the first shifts that need to happen is the release of shame. Many people struggle with financial setbacks because they have internalized shame. They feel like failures or think that their struggles are a reflection of their worth. But God is saying today, your struggle is not your identity. You were never meant to carry the weight of shame over your finances or your situation. Shame has been a tool of the enemy to keep you from stepping into the freedom that God has for you. God is breaking that off of you now, and as that shame lifts, you will step into the truth of who you are, a child of the King, called to live in abundance, not scarcity. Another critical shift that must happen is the recognition of delays as divine training. When we're in the midst of a season of delay, it's easy to assume that it's a sign of rejection or failure. But God is teaching us that delays are often a sign of preparation, not denial. The reason things haven't unfolded the way you expected is because God is training you, building you, and positioning you to handle the blessings that are coming your way. The delay is not a denial, it's a training ground for your next level. You see, God does not release blessings prematurely. He releases them when you are ready to handle them. If provision had come too soon, it would have overwhelmed you. God is ensuring that you are equipped spiritually, mentally, and emotionally to steward what He is about to release into your life. The waiting period is not punishment. It is a divine process that refines you. It's in this season of waiting and delay that God is developing your character, strengthening your faith, and aligning your heart with His will. And once these internal shifts occur, the external breakthrough will flow effortlessly. Understand that the provision is already on its way, but before you can receive it, God needs to make sure that your heart, your mind, and your spirit are aligned with His purpose. This internal shift is necessary to prepare you for the fullness of what is to come. God is awakening something within you right now, a new level of faith, a new level of trust, a new level of resilience. This spiritual awakening will propel you into the breakthrough you've been waiting for. You're not just waiting for external change. God is changing you from the inside out. so that you will be ready to receive and manage the blessings He is about to pour into your life. Once this internal shift takes place, everything else will follow. The provision you've prayed for will come, but it will only come when you've made room in your spirit to handle it. The shift has begun. The internal transformation is taking place right now, and as it does, you will begin to feel lighter, freer, and more confident in the purpose God has for your life. The breakthrough is not just about finances, it's about your whole life being aligned with God's purpose for you. As you experience this awakening within, you will begin to see the external provision flow into your life naturally, because when your heart and mind align with God's will, everything else falls into place. The struggle you've faced, the battles you've fought, it's easy to think that the key to overcoming them lies in talent or intelligence. We often believe that if we could just be smarter, more skilled, or more talented, the breakthrough would come faster. But here's the truth. The true battle is not about how talented or intelligent you are. It's about endurance, and most importantly, trusting God through the entire process. Endurance is the difference between those who see their breakthrough and those who give up before it arrives. It's the ability to keep moving forward when everything inside of you wants to quit, when the bills keep stacking up and the opportunity seems impossible. The enemy will do everything he can to make you feel like giving up is the only option. He will try to make you doubt whether God's promises are real, whether you can ever get out of this cycle of struggle. But the enemy doesn't understand that the true power lies in your ability to endure, to trust God no matter what, and to keep moving forward even when it seems like nothing is happening. In every season of financial struggle, the true test has never been your ability to work harder, your intelligence, or your gifts. It's always been about your endurance. Can you hold on when the breakthrough feels far away? Can you keep trusting when your circumstances scream the opposite of what God has promised? Can you believe that God will deliver on His promises even when it feels like time is running out? Effort is important, yes. It's important to work hard, to do what God has called you to do. But it's not the effort that produces the breakthrough. It's the endurance. The ability to keep your faith intact while the process unfolds. God knows you've worked hard. He sees every effort, every late night, every sacrifice. But He is more interested in your ability to trust Him when the outcome isn't in sight yet. The true breakthrough comes when you learn to trust God in the waiting. When you learn to trust that the promise is still coming, even when you can't see it yet. God doesn't measure success the way the world does. The world says that success is all about your abilities, your qualifications, your talents. But God says success is about your trust in Him. Can you keep moving forward with faith when nothing is happening externally? Can you trust His timing, His process, and His ways when your own understanding is telling you to quit? That's where your true strength lies. Endurance isn't about forcing things to happen. It's about trusting God's timing and trusting that the breakthrough is being prepared for you right now, even when you can't see it. The real power in this season of struggle is not in making things happen by your own strength. The power is in knowing that God is preparing you for something greater, and that everything you're enduring right now is part of the process that's leading you to that breakthrough. Endurance isn't passive, it's active trust. It's the decision to keep moving forward, to keep holding on to God's promises, even when the road is long and hard. And as you do, you will see the reward. Because when you trust in God's process, when you endure in faith, the breakthrough will come. It always does. God's promises never fail, and the endurance you've shown will be rewarded in ways you can't yet imagine. So, don't worry if the breakthrough hasn't come yet. Your endurance is building the foundation for the blessing. Your ability to trust through the struggle is exactly what God has been preparing in you. The true battle has never been about how hard you work or how smart you are. It's been about trusting Him through the process. And as you endure, you will see that everything you've been waiting for is being released. There's a powerful truth that you need to embrace. God often moves most powerfully after seasons of emotional exhaustion. It's when you've come to the end of yourself, when you feel like you've given everything you have, and you're ready to throw in the towel, that's when God steps in with a breakthrough that changes everything. This is not a coincidence. It's part of God's divine timing, a timing that is always perfect, always intentional, and always aligned with the elevation He has prepared for you. You may have been pushing yourself for months, or even years, doing everything right, trying to move mountains on your own strength. But the harder you worked, the more exhausted you felt. You may have questioned whether God was even listening, wondering why the breakthrough was taking so long, even though you've given it your all. It's in these moments of emotional and spiritual exhaustion that God is about to release His greatest blessings. Here's the truth. God doesn't just act when we feel strong and capable. He moves when we're at the end of our rope, because it's in those moments that we have no choice but to trust Him fully. The breakthrough you've been praying for doesn't come because you've finally figured it all out. It comes when you reach a place where you can no longer rely on your own effort, but must fully depend on His grace and power. The reality is, timing is key to both spiritual and material elevation. The breakthrough is not delayed because God is punishing you, it's delayed because He is waiting for the right moment. God's timing is always perfect, and His timing is not based on our clock. He is never in a hurry. He knows when we are ready to receive the blessing, and more importantly, He knows when we are spiritually and emotionally prepared to handle it. Often, the delay is not a denial, it's a preparation period. God uses emotional exhaustion to get us to a place of complete surrender. It's in the moments when we feel like we have nothing left to give, when we've hit rock bottom, that we finally give God the space to move. That's when His power is made perfect in our weakness. 2 Corinthians 12-9. The breakthrough doesn't come when you're strong enough. It comes when you're weak enough to let God's strength be the driving force. It's like a seed planted in the ground. The seed doesn't sprout overnight. There's a process of time, of darkness, of being buried in the soil before it begins to grow. You might feel buried in your circumstances, overwhelmed by the weight of the waiting, but God is using this time to prepare the soil of your heart for the breakthrough. When the timing is right, the seed will sprout, and what once seemed impossible will bloom into a harvest you never thought possible. Your emotional exhaustion is part of the divine process. It's not something God is overlooking. He's using it to bring you to a place where you can fully surrender and trust His timing. When you are at your weakest, God will show up at His strongest, and His provision will exceed what you ever could have imagined. This is the time when God's timing will shift everything in your life, both spiritually and materially. So, if you're feeling exhausted, if you're weary from fighting battles and waiting for the breakthrough, understand this. God is setting you up for the greatest breakthrough of your life. He is waiting for the moment when you are fully ready to receive, not in your own strength, but in His. The breakthrough you've been longing for is not being withheld, it's being perfectly timed. The moment of your greatest exhaustion is the moment of God's greatest elevation for you. Trust His timing. God is moving when you least expect it. When you've reached the end of your own strength, that's when He steps in with divine timing, divine provision, and a breakthrough that will elevate you beyond what you ever imagined. There's something shifting in your life right now, a divine shift that is changing the very atmosphere around you. As the chosen one, you are no longer waiting for the world to change around you. You are stepping into a new realm where your presence, your decisions, and your authority carry weight. This shift isn't just spiritual, it's practical, and it's about to revolutionize your financial situation in ways you can feel. The atmosphere around your finances is changing. Where once there was resistance, now there will be ease. Where once decisions were slow, now they will happen quickly. Faster decision-making is coming into play, not because you've suddenly become more capable, but because God is aligning everything for your benefit. What once felt like pushing a boulder uphill will now feel like walking through an open door. You will find that your decisions are being made with clarity and confidence, and the process will seem less complicated than ever before. The financial resistance you've encountered, the struggles to push through doors that wouldn't open, the obstacles that always seem to stand in your way, all of that is shifting. you will notice that doors are beginning to open on their own. What once felt like a constant battle will now feel like a natural flow. Opportunities will present themselves to you with effortless ease, and the weight of financial anxiety will start to lift. The pressure that once held you back is now giving way to an empowered flow of provision. And here's what's most powerful about this change. Your authority is growing. As the chosen one, your presence is starting to shift the atmosphere. People will start to notice you in ways they didn't before. Your words will carry more weight. Your decisions will be respected, and you will begin to walk with a quiet authority that others can't ignore. God is giving you favor, and it is showing up practically in your financial life. You are walking into a season of influence, not because of your own striving, but because God has positioned you. Your authority is rooted in His purpose for you. As you step into your divine calling, you will start to notice that you are no longer just reacting to life. You are making things happen. You are not waiting for others to decide for you. You are taking charge of your own decisions, your own path. Your financial situation is no longer about struggling to keep up. It's about leading with confidence, making choices with clarity, and moving forward without hesitation. No longer will you be pushed around by financial instability. The authority you carry now comes from the steady trust you've placed in God through all the trials, and as a result, your financial decisions will become faster and more effective. You'll find that the resistance that once seemed insurmountable will melt away, and the obstacles that once blocked your path will now give way to the strength and authority that God has placed in you. This is not just a moment of financial breakthrough, it's a moment of spiritual and practical transformation. Your ability to lead in your finances, your relationships, and your purpose is growing exponentially. God has made you the authority in your own life, and He's giving you the ability to make decisions that propel you forward without resistance or hesitation. As you step into this new season, embrace your steadiness and authority. The shifting atmosphere will require you to trust that you are the one who carries the power to move forward, to make decisions, and to lead your finances and your life. This is your time to not only experience financial freedom but to walk confidently in the authority that God has given you. Your finances are changing, your decisions are becoming sharper, and you are walking into the fullness of your purpose, with the divine authority that only the chosen one can carry. The pressure you felt, the weight that seemed like it would crush you, the struggles that felt like they were too much to bear, that pressure was never meant to bury you. It was never meant to defeat you or break you down. What you've been through has actually been building something stronger inside of you. A resilience, a depth of strength, and a faith that cannot be shaken. The very pressure that once seemed overwhelming is now the testimony of your survival and growth. For so long, you may have felt like the financial strain, the emotional burden, or the weight of your circumstances would break you. It may have felt like, no matter how hard you tried, the pressure was only increasing, and the walls were closing in around you. But you've made it through. You've survived what others may not have been able to withstand. The pressure didn't destroy you, it transformed you. This is not just about enduring hardship, it's about the strength you've gained through the process. Every struggle, every challenge, and every moment you thought you couldn't keep going has contributed to the internal strength you now possess. The weight that once seemed unbearable is now the evidence of how far you've come. It is the proof that you have been refined, that you have been tested, and that you have emerged stronger, wiser, and more equipped for the next chapter. What once felt like a burden will now become your strength. The emotional exhaustion, the seasons of doubt, and the moments when you thought you couldn't go on, those moments are now the pillars of your resilience. The pressure you faced was not there to crush you, but to mold you, to shape you into the person you needed to be, to carry the blessing that is now unfolding in your life. What once seemed like a force that could destroy you is now the very thing that proves your growth. You've survived, and in surviving, you've grown. Think about this. The person you are today, the strength you now carry, is the result of every ounce of pressure that you once thought would bury you. You may have felt like you were being crushed under the weight, but now you see that the pressure was actually refining you, forging you into someone who can handle the abundance that's coming your way. You are stronger now. You are more resilient now. You are prepared for what's coming next because you've already faced the fire and come through it. That pressure has become your foundation. Every challenge, every financial struggle, every emotional weight has built a core of strength in you that cannot be shaken. You now walk into your breakthrough with an inner strength that is unshakable because you have already been through the hardest parts. You've seen what you can endure, what you can survive, and what you can overcome, and it has made you more than capable of carrying the breakthrough that is now unfolding in your life. What once seemed like a battle against insurmountable odds is now the proof that you can handle whatever comes next. Your growth is evident in your ability to keep going, to keep trusting, and to keep standing, even when everything around you felt like it was falling apart. The strength you have gained in this season will carry you into the next, with confidence, with courage, and with the assurance that you are ready for everything that God is about to release into your life. You are no longer just surviving, you are thriving. The pressure that once felt like it was too much to bear is now your evidence of survival, growth, and unshakable strength. You are no longer the person who was buried by circumstances. You are the chosen one who, through God's strength, has emerged victorious. Your breakthrough is not just financial, it is spiritual, emotional, and personal, because you have been built to withstand the weight of the blessings coming your way. You are stronger now than you ever thought possible, and you are ready to receive it all. As you transition into this new season, it's time to shift your mindset from one of survival to one of stewardship. For so long, your focus has been on simply making it through, getting by, scraping together enough to survive the day, the week, or the month. But God is calling you to something greater. No longer are you meant to live from paycheck to paycheck, from crisis to crisis, just trying to hold it all together. God is inviting you into a season where stability becomes the foundation for increased provision. The mindset of survival is rooted in fear, scarcity, and limitation. It's about reacting to circumstances, focusing on what you don't have, and constantly fighting to keep your head above water. But stewardship is different. Stewardship is rooted in trust, abundance, and responsibility. It's not about reacting to life, it's about leading your life with wisdom, patience, and a deep understanding that God has entrusted you with more than enough to meet not just your needs, but to bless others and further His kingdom. This transition from survival to stewardship is not just about finances, it's about your whole approach to life. In a survival mindset, you are constantly in crisis mode, reacting to emergencies, thinking that there's never enough. But in a stewardship mindset, you begin to see everything differently. You see that God has already provided what you need to succeed, and that your role is to manage, multiply, and grow the resources He has given you. Now, as you step into this new season of provision, God is giving you the stability to handle it. The breakthrough that's coming is not just a one-time blessing, it's a sustained flow of abundance. The provision will not run out because God is positioning you as a steward, not a survivor. This is a time of management, multiplication, and expansion. The stability that God is giving you is not just for you to live comfortably, but to build a foundation for greater blessings, to manage His resources wisely, and to expand His kingdom in ways that you never imagined. The difference between survival and stewardship is this. Survival is about getting by, but stewardship is about thriving. It's about making decisions with purpose, aligning your choices with God's will, and knowing that the resources He's entrusted you with are meant to be used wisely, with an eternal perspective. Stewardship is not just about money, it's about time, energy, relationships, and every resource God has placed in your care. Stability is the foundation that will allow you to steward these resources well. You've been through the refining process, and now God is placing you in a position of strength and stability, where your decisions are grounded in trust, not fear. You no longer have to make decisions out of desperation or anxiety. You are now making decisions from a place of peace, confidence, and divine alignment. As you embrace this shift, understand that stewardship doesn't mean controlling everything. It means being responsible with what God has already given you. It's about recognizing that the resources in your hands are not truly yours. They belong to God, and He is entrusting you to use them for His glory and for your good. This is not a time of just waiting for blessings to fall into your lap. This is a time of active management, where you use wisdom, discernment, and the gifts God has given you to make the most of what you've been entrusted with. The season of struggle is over. You are stepping into a time where stability and stewardship are the pillars of your financial life, and God will continue to provide as you faithfully steward what He has given you. This is not a temporary blessing. It's a long-term, sustainable provision that will continue to flow as you remain faithful to God's principles of stewardship. In this new season, God is positioning you not just for survival, but for a life of abundance, purpose, and impact. Stewardship will be the foundation that allows you to multiply and expand, to use your resources to make a lasting difference, and to live in the freedom that comes from knowing you are managing what God has given you with wisdom, faithfulness, and joy. The time for survival is over. It's time to step into the full responsibility and abundance of stewardship. With God's guidance, this new foundation will open the door to even greater provision and blessing than you ever thought possible. You may have already felt it, an unsettling discomfort, a sense that things are shifting beneath your feet. You may have been feeling uneasy, as if God is pulling you out of your comfort zone and leading you into uncharted territory. This discomfort is not a sign of failure, but of divine repositioning. It's a powerful indicator that God is preparing you for something greater, something far beyond what you've known up until now. Repositioning is often uncomfortable because it requires a realignment of your heart, your mind, and your spirit. For so long, you've been in a familiar place, whether it's a job, a financial routine, or a way of thinking. But God doesn't leave us where we are. He's always moving us forward, repositioning us into new levels of growth, purpose, and provision. And this shift, though uncomfortable, is part of the process that leads to greater stability, purpose, and impact. God's transition process often feels disorienting. You may be in a season where things that once felt secure now seem to be slipping away. You might be experiencing change in your relationships, career, or even your personal identity. The comfort you once had is now replaced with uncertainty. This discomfort is God's way of preparing you for something better. A new season of influence, provision, and spiritual maturity. Don't mistake discomfort for punishment. While it may feel like your world is turning upside down, remember that God's purpose in repositioning you is to expand your territory, increase your influence, and lead you into greater stability. The discomfort is the growing pains of transformation, and every bit of it is necessary to shape you into the person capable of carrying the next level of blessings He has for you. Think about the process of a seed breaking through the soil. The discomfort of pushing through the earth is essential for the plant's growth and strength. Without the struggle, the seed wouldn't be able to grow deep roots or strong stems. Likewise, without this moment of discomfort, you wouldn't be able to withstand the weight of the increase that God is preparing to bring into your life. The discomfort is the sign that something new is growing inside of you. Repositioning often involves letting go of what no longer serves you. This could be mindsets, habits, relationships, or even environments that you've outgrown. Letting go can be painful, but it's a necessary part of the process. God doesn't reposition you just for the sake of change. He moves you out of situations that are limiting your potential and into spaces where you can thrive and make a greater impact. What feels like loss is often just preparation for something better. And here's the thing about God's repositioning. It's always for a greater purpose. God doesn't move you for the sake of moving you. He is aligning you with His bigger plan for your life. Whether it's in your finances, your career, your relationships, or your spiritual growth, God is placing you exactly where He needs you. It may not make sense now, but as the pieces fall into place, you will see that this discomfort was leading you to something more impactful, more stable, and more fulfilling than anything you could have imagined. In this season of discomfort, trust that God is making room for you to expand. Just as a home needs to be cleared out and rearranged before it can hold new furniture, God is making space in your life for greater provision, influence, and responsibility. The stability you seek will come, but only after the repositioning has taken place. This is God's way of aligning you for greater purpose, so that you can steward the blessings He has for you. You are not being displaced. You are being repositioned for greater impact and greater stability. As you step into this new season, don't fear the discomfort. Embrace it, knowing that God is preparing you for something extraordinary. A life that reflects His goodness, abundance, and perfect timing. The discomfort you feel now is temporary, but the stability and provision that come from God's perfect plan are eternal. Your transition is not a setback, it is a divine setup for your next level. Trust the process, embrace the discomfort, and know that on the other side of this repositioning is a future you could never have imagined, but one that God has always had prepared for you. In every season of growth, there comes a moment of discomfort, a moment when everything that once felt secure begins to shift. You may be feeling it now, the unease, the uncertainty, the unsettling sense that God is pulling you out of one space and into another. This discomfort, however, is not a sign of rejection, it is a divine release. God is positioning you for a new level of spiritual and financial elevation, and the discomfort you feel is the process of shedding old ways, mindsets, and limitations that no longer serve your destiny. When we experience discomfort, especially in areas like finances or spiritual growth, our immediate reaction can often be fear. We might interpret it as a setback or a failure, but discomfort is rarely a sign of something going wrong. Instead, it's often a signal that something is shifting to make room for greater things. God uses these moments to reposition you, to move you out of old patterns, situations, and mindsets, and place you in a position of new purpose, new stability, and new provision. You are in a process of spiritual and financial repositioning, and discomfort is part of that divine transition. Just as a tree must stretch its roots deeper into the soil to grow taller, you must expand your capacity emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to receive the blessings and the responsibility that God is about to release into your life. What feels like a loss is actually a preparation for something greater. Discomfort as release. The discomfort you're feeling isn't rejection, it's release. God is removing the old so He can make room for the new. This could mean letting go of unhealthy financial habits, shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance, or stepping away from relationships or environments that have held you back. Release often feels painful, but it is necessary to free you from things that could have limited your growth. God doesn't want you to remain in places of false security. He's taking you to a place where you can thrive, a place where His blessings can flow freely into your life without restraint. Financial repositioning. In the financial realm, this transition may involve changes in your career, investments, or how you manage resources. You might feel a bit disoriented by unexpected expenses, changes in income, or opportunities that come with greater responsibility. But don't see these shifts as obstacles. See them as God's way of preparing you to steward greater resources. The discomfort of shifting your financial patterns is a divine repositioning. God is moving you out of a place of struggle into a place of stability and abundance. But you must first make room for the new. Spiritual repositioning. Spiritually, this transition might feel like you're being stretched, tested, or even led through periods of doubt or confusion. These feelings are natural when God is preparing you for a new season. He is deepening your trust in Him, stretching your capacity for faith, and showing you how to walk by faith and not by sight. Just as financial discomfort signals a new elevation, spiritual discomfort signifies a deeper trust in God's perfect timing. God is working within you, preparing your spirit to hold more of His presence, His wisdom, and His power. Remember, God never moves you backward. If things are shifting around you, if the discomfort you feel is leading you to let go of the old, it's a clear sign that He is preparing you for divine elevation. You are being prepared for a greater level of impact, stability, and provision. You are being moved from where you were into where you were always meant to be, a place where you will have the capacity to thrive, not just survive. The divine elevation that is coming will require you to handle more, not just in terms of financial provision, but also in terms of the responsibilities that come with it. And God is giving you this moment of discomfort as a sign that you are ready for what's next. The release of the old is necessary for the arrival of the new, and this repositioning is God's way of aligning you with His perfect plan. Embrace the discomfort. Instead of seeing it as a setback or rejection, view it as the release of everything that no longer serves you, and the preparation for what God is about to pour into your life. This divine repositioning is a sign that God is making room for the blessing, the provision, and the purpose that is about to unfold in your life. Trust His timing, trust His process, and know that this discomfort is leading you straight into the divine elevation that He has always planned for you. In a world that often equates success with income, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters, the intrinsic value God has placed in you. For so long, you may have measured your worth by the numbers in your bank account, the status of your career, or the external successes you've achieved. But God is recalibrating your worth, and He is shifting your focus from external income to internal value, from what the world can see to the value that is deeply embedded in your identity as His chosen child. The truth is, your value is not determined by your paycheck, your job title, or your financial status. God doesn't see you based on your income. He sees you based on who He created you to be, the gifts He has given you, and the purpose He has placed within you. Your worth is intrinsic, rooted in your relationship with Him, and is not subject to the fluctuations of the world's standards of success. The reality is that you can experience increase in ways that go far beyond just your bank account. God is shifting your perspective from focusing on external income to embracing the increase of your intrinsic value. This doesn't mean that God isn't concerned with your material provision. He is, but He understands that true prosperity starts in the heart. When you recognize your true worth, your external circumstances begin to align with it. The recalibration of your value is not about how much you can earn, but about how much you understand your worth in Him. In a season of financial shifts and redefinition, God is reminding you that you are valuable, regardless of your income. Your worth doesn't decrease when your income decreases. Your worth doesn't increase when your income increases. Your worth is unshakable because it is anchored in the truth of who you are in Christ. True wealth comes from understanding and accepting your value in God's eyes. When you grasp the depth of your identity in Him, everything else starts to fall into place. The more you recognize your intrinsic value, the more aligned your actions and decisions become. When your worth is rooted in God's love and purpose, the material blessings will follow as a natural result. But the key to lasting prosperity is in knowing your worth, regardless of the fluctuations of income. You may have been caught up in the cycle of trying to prove your worth through your earnings, chasing more money, more promotions, more recognition. But God is breaking that cycle. He's showing you that your worth doesn't come from what you achieve, it comes from who you are in Him. You are valuable because God created you, and He has placed within you everything you need to fulfill your purpose. When your value is recalibrated to God's standards, you will stop measuring your success by what the world sees, and start measuring it by how well you are stewarding your calling, your gifts, and the resources God has entrusted to you. True success is about aligning with God's purpose for your life, and when you do that, financial provision and external blessings will follow. God is recalibrating your worth in this season, teaching you to walk in confidence, not because of how much you have in the bank, but because of the incredible potential He has placed inside you. This is a season where your true value will begin to manifest in every area of your life. You will start to see the fruits of your value, not just in material things, but in the relationships you cultivate, the opportunities that arise, and the peace and fulfillment that come when you know your worth is rooted in God's love, not in anything external. You are valuable beyond measure, and as you begin to embrace this truth, God will align your external provision with your internal worth. You won't just see financial increase, you will experience spiritual growth, relational depth, and emotional stability, as your understanding of your value changes the way you approach every aspect of your life. True abundance comes when we understand the value we have in God's eyes, and He is about to show you just how deeply He values you. As you step into this new season, you are no longer bound by the urgent pressures of life. The constant hustle, the fear of missing out, the anxious striving to make things happen that is no longer your rhythm. God is transitioning you into a new way of living, one that is driven by divine timing and clarity, rather than by fear or pressure. For so long, you've been living on a treadmill of urgency, constantly reacting to life, instead of intentionally directing it. But now, God is inviting you to live with intentionality. Your days are no longer defined by what you have to rush to do, but by what God has called you to do, at the right time and in the right order. This new rhythm of life is not about forcing outcomes, it's about aligning with God's perfect timing and moving at His pace, with clarity and confidence. Living with intentionality means making choices that are aligned with your purpose, focused on what matters most, and led by peace, not panic. This is a season where you will no longer feel the need to rush or hurry, because you will trust that God is leading you to the right opportunities, the right people, and the right moments. Every step will be taken with purpose, and you will no longer feel the weight of urgency trying to push you forward. Your life will move with divine flow, and you will learn that there is time for everything that is truly meant for you. In this new rhythm, you are learning to receive without guilt. For so long, you may have seen provision as something you had to earn, or worse, as something you didn't deserve. You might have felt uncomfortable receiving blessings or financial provision, thinking that you had to struggle for everything you got or that you weren't worthy of abundance. But God is transforming your mindset. Provision is not a reward for perfection, it is a tool for fulfilling your purpose. Everything God provides for you is meant to empower you to walk in your calling, to carry out His plans, and to bless others. Receiving provision with gratitude and without guilt allows you to steward what God gives you well, whether it's financial resources, opportunities, relationships, or spiritual gifts. As you embrace this mindset of receiving without guilt, you will see that provision becomes less about your own worthiness and more about God's faithfulness. He provides so that you can fulfill the purpose He has placed on your life. Your life is not meant to be lived in scarcity or fear of lack. You are called to live in abundance, where receiving God's blessings becomes a natural part of your journey, fueling the work He has called you to do. As you enter this new season of alignment, you will notice that opportunities begin to multiply. The world around you will offer many possibilities: financial, career, relational, and spiritual. But with the increase in opportunities comes a need for discernment. Not every opportunity is aligned with God's will for your life, and it's important to know how to differentiate between distractions and divine assignments. Discernment is the ability to recognize the voice of God in the midst of the noise, and to make decisions based on His guidance, not out of impulse or fear of missing out. As you embrace your new rhythm of life, your decisions will be made with clarity and peace, knowing that God is guiding you toward His perfect will for your life. You will no longer be swayed by every opportunity that presents itself, but you will learn to pause, listen, and ask, is this God's will for me? Is this the timing He has for me? In this season, discernment will be your greatest tool. You will find that as you practice listening to God's voice, you will gain clarity about which opportunities to pursue and which ones to let go of. This is not about being afraid to miss out, it's about trusting that God's plan for you is better than any plan you could create on your own. The new rhythm of life is one of divine alignment, where intentionality, generosity, and discernment become second nature. God is calling you to live with purpose, to receive without guilt, and to make decisions with clarity and confidence. The opportunities ahead will be abundant, but with God's guidance, you will navigate them with wisdom, knowing exactly where He is leading you. As you step into this new rhythm, know that this is the life God has always intended for you, one that is free from the pressure of urgency and full of divine timing, intentionality, and clarity. You are walking in the fullness of your purpose, receiving God's provision as a tool for impact, and making decisions that align with His will for your life. As you step into the season of divine provision, it's essential to understand that gratitude is not just a response to blessings, it is a protection. When God releases blessings into your life, gratitude acts as a guard against entitlement, ensuring that you don't take His provision for granted. In a world that often teaches us to expect more, to constantly chase after the next best thing, gratitude keeps your heart anchored in the reality that everything you have is a gift from God. Gratitude is the mindset that says, I am thankful for what I have, and I recognize that all of it comes from God. When you live with a heart of gratitude, you avoid the dangerous pitfall of entitlement, which says, I deserve this. Entitlement makes us feel that we are entitled to more, and that blessings are owed to us. But when we embrace gratitude, we acknowledge that God's provision is a gift, one that we have not earned, but that He has freely given out of His goodness and grace. Gratitude also ensures that the increase you receive can be sustained. When you are grateful, you recognize that the blessings in your life are not for your own indulgence or comfort, but for a greater purpose. Gratitude fosters a spirit of stewardship, where you care for what God has given you, manage it wisely, and use it to bless others and fulfill His plan for your life. Gratitude aligns your heart with God's will, keeping you grounded in His purposes and enabling you to handle the increase He gives you without being overwhelmed or corrupted by it. Living with a grateful heart positions you to not only receive God's blessings, but also to sustain and multiply them. You will find that as you maintain an attitude of thankfulness, the blessings you have will continue to flow, and you will be entrusted with even more. Gratitude becomes the foundation upon which the increase can rest, grow, and overflow into every area of your life. As you step into your new role as a steward of the blessings God has given you, humility is key. The role of steward is not about ownership, it's about management. You are not the ultimate source of your blessings, God is. Humility and stewardship means recognizing that everything you have belongs to God, and that He has entrusted you with the responsibility to manage it wisely. Humility keeps you from becoming prideful or possessive about what God has given you. It helps you remember that your success, your wealth, your gifts, and your position are not because of your own strength, but because of God's grace and provision. Humility allows you to see yourself as a vessel, a conduit through which God's blessings flow to others. It prevents you from taking credit for what God has done, and instead keeps your focus on His goodness and faithfulness. As you steward your blessings, always remember that God is the ultimate source. He has given you everything you have, and it is your responsibility to manage it in a way that honors Him. Humility and stewardship is about acknowledging that you are a manager of God's resources, not the owner. It means handling your finances, your time, your relationships, and your opportunities with a mindset that says, "This is all from God, and I will use it according to His will." Humility also guards against the temptation to hoard or waste what God has entrusted to you. It teaches you to be generous with what you have, knowing that everything you give comes back to you in ways that bring glory to God. True stewardship is rooted in humility, because it acknowledges that God is the provider, and our role is to manage His blessings with integrity, wisdom, and love. As you move forward in this season of abundance, it is essential to embody humility and gratitude in your daily decisions. This is not just a mindset, it is a lifestyle. Every choice you make, from how you manage your finances to how you interact with others, should be rooted in these principles. In your financial decisions, gratefulness should guide your spending and saving. You are no longer driven by fear or scarcity, but by a desire to steward what God has given you. Your generosity will be a reflection of your gratitude, and your careful management will reflect your humility as a steward. In your relationships, humility will guide how you treat others, recognizing that God has placed people in your life for a purpose. You are not above others because of your blessings. True humility in relationships means serving others, valuing them, and acknowledging that we are all part of God's plan. Treating others with respect, kindness, and love will bring glory to God and further His kingdom. In your interactions with the world, let gratitude be your response to every situation. Whether you are in a season of abundance or waiting for the next breakthrough, maintain a heart of thankfulness for what God has already provided. Gratitude transforms your outlook on life, turning every moment, good or bad, into an opportunity to praise God and recognize His faithfulness. Humility and gratitude should be your compass in every area of life. They are not just attitudes to adopt when things are going well. They should define how you live every day, guiding your decisions, your actions, and your interactions with others. As you live out this message, you will find that your life becomes a reflection of God's love and provision, and your testimony will be a beacon of light to those around you. In the end, God's provision is meant to bless not only you, but everyone you encounter. As you live with gratitude and humility, you will become a vessel through which God's blessings overflow, bringing joy, peace, and abundance to every area of your life and to the lives of those around you. The season of struggling to survive has come to an end. No longer will you fight to make ends meet, constantly living in fear of what's next. The financial burdens that once weighed you down are being lifted, and the pressure that once seemed unrelenting is now fading away. A new season has begun, one of divine increase, abundant provision, and supernatural alignment. You are no longer in the land of scarcity or lack. You are stepping into a season of flourishing spiritually, emotionally, and financially. You've endured, you've fought, and you've trusted God through the hardest moments. And now, He is rewarding your endurance by ushering you into a place of stability and prosperity. The survival mode is over. You are entering into a new rhythm, where divine provision will flow freely into your life. What has been stored up for you is now being released, and God's favor is going to work in ways that will not only meet your needs but overflow to bless others as well. Embrace this new season with joy and expectation, because what God is about to do in your life will be greater than anything you've seen so far. You are no longer waiting for permission to move forward. This is the moment when you walk in alignment with God's purpose and provision, knowing that everything you need is already available to you. No longer do you need to sit back and wait for a breakthrough. The breakthrough has already begun, and you are walking into it step by step. Your life is aligned with divine purpose. Every decision you make is now rooted in God's will, and as you continue to follow His lead, you will see the pieces of your life fall into place in ways that will astound you. You are no longer just reacting to circumstances. You are now actively walking in the direction God has prepared for you, and His provision will continue to unfold at the perfect time. You don't need to strive. You don't need to fight to make things happen. God has gone before you, and He is guiding your steps. Trust that, as you align with His will, He will continue to provide, protect, and propel you forward. You are no longer a passenger on this journey. You are the one who is actively moving toward your God-ordained destiny. This is the season where you walk confidently, knowing that everything you need is in perfect alignment with God's purpose for you. As you continue forward, know this: God has begun a good work in you, and He will bring it to completion. Philippians 1-6. Your future is not uncertain. It is filled with peace, clarity, and divine purpose. As you embrace this new season, let peace be your guide. The anxiety, fear, and stress that once accompanied your financial and personal challenges are gone. Now, you are walking in the peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4-7. Knowing that God has already gone ahead of you, making the path straight. Gratitude will be your constant companion as you walk through this new season. Thankfulness for what God has already done, and trust in what He will continue to do, will propel you forward with confidence. As you move ahead, keep your heart full of gratitude for the journey that has shaped you, for the lessons that have brought you to this point, and for the divine increase that is now unfolding in your life. The future is not just a continuation of what has been. It is a new chapter of purpose, provision, and peace. God has great things in store for you, and His plans for you are filled with hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Embrace this season with confidence, knowing that the same God who began this work in you is faithful to complete it. Keep walking in alignment, keep trusting in His provision, and keep living with gratitude, because what God has started, He will surely bring to completion. The best is yet to come. Walk forward in peace, knowing that your journey is divinely orchestrated, your provision is secure, and your purpose is unfolding with clarity and joy.